I'm gonna be honest, I'm surprised it took this long to find out DeuxMoi's identity.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda. You're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about anonymity versus privacy, or do you really have the right to a secret identity when you're running a celebrity blind items Instagram account? The jury's out, frankly. But yes, today we are talking about the Instagram account DeuxMoi's identity being revealed. And by revealed, I mean a journalist did journalism work and just shared the identity. I don't know, I expected a bigger deal, and instead what we got was just a newsletter being released. Like, oh yeah, here, I did the work, found it, here. It's not that funny. I've thought about this a lot over the last few days. DeuxMoi is a private Instagram account. I believe they're still private. I follow them. I started following them in 2020 when they really kind of started blowing up. They now have 1.5 million followers. Their account says, curators of pop culture, statements made on this account have not been independently confirmed. This account does not claim any information published is based in fact. And their whole thing is that they really kind of, I don't want to say they brought about blind items. Blind items never left. I would just say that they kind of, I don't even want to say they popularized it. I can say she for DeuxMoi because I always knew it was run by a woman. I believe it was 2020. Let me pull up the episode actually. They did an episode on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast that they went on. Yeah, so this episode is from November 3rd, 2020, a non-celeb gossip with DeuxMoi. I don't know. Hearing her talk, I was like, this woman's either late 20s or 30s. And she just has the vernacular of like, I guessed white. That was my guess. And I think I was right. I'll talk more about what she divulged in this episode that I listened to a little later in this video. But I always knew from that episode early on that it was run by a single woman at the very least. DeuxMoi, like I said, is an Instagram blind items account. Basically what you do is you send in your celebrity gossip, celebrity news, and without the names, or with the names in some instances, but usually without the names, just vague descriptors or not so vague descriptors of a celebrity. And then it'll get posted. And then if it gets confirmed, then sometimes they do follow-ups and is like, this is just confirmed or X, Y, and Z. But it's the assumption is that these are all rumors. These are not real. But the thing about fandom is that it doesn't really matter if it's real or not. The rumor itself can make it real, court of public opinion and all of that. Once it's discussed, it might as well be fact. Good luck disproving it at that point. Which, I mean, I guess we could have a whole other video about that and media literacy and letting things play out and, double checking sources and all of that. But I mean, it's kind of hard to double check a source when it comes to a blind item on an Instagram account, Usually these posts lead to a larger discussion. There's also the Facebook group, which I joined, 2020, I think, just because I was like, I don't know, maybe they'll do some more information. And there's usually people in the Facebook groups talking about the post themselves and trying to figure out who they're about, or if there's any way to corroborate some of this stuff. But that's DeuxMoi, submitting blind items. They're not corroborating them by posting them. Posting them doesn't mean that they're fact, but they are spreading them out. They're dispersing them into the social media ether. They also do celebrity spottings, and they do like Sunday roundups talking about all these submissions of spottings they've seen throughout the week that they've received. Sometimes it's, hey, so-and-so spotted. Like they get a lot of housewives. A lot of people that follow DeuxMoi are in New York, so they get a lot of New York housewives. A lot of random celebrities out here in LA, things like that. Sometimes there's photos, sometimes there's not. I should point out, I have never actually submitted anything to DeuxMoi. I want to make that clear. I did interact with them. I talked about this on the podcast. I interacted with them briefly at the start of last year when the Armie Hammer stuff was coming out, because an article went about them trying to pin everything onto Armie Hammer's like canceling and all of that about the allegations that were against him, and trying to say that it was DeuxMoi making all those up. And I was just like, yeah, that literally, they barely posted about any of that. She had replied to me and we went back and forth, but that was it. I haven't interacted with her individually since March 3rd of 2021, not this year. The main debate around DeuxMoi has always been, why is DeuxMoi allowed a secret identity while also running a celebrity blind item account and publishing private details of celebrities' lives with no cooperation, no proof of anything, spreading rumors? while also encouraging stalking behavior of posting the celebrity sightings and violating these celebrities' privacy. That's always been the discussion around DeuxMoi. Why are you allowed privacy and a secret identity, or why are you owed that when these celebrities' privacies are being violated by your account in general? Again, not every single post is going to be violating someone's privacy. You know, sometimes some people just see someone and they're like, hi, I saw this person. But there are times where it's like someone's like out and about eating or something, and then they're like taking photos and submitting photos and things like that. I guess we could have a whole discussion on, you know, how is this different from paparazzi and all that? Not all paparazzi is hired by the artists or the celebrity. There's been a discussion of that, of like, oh, there's no like random paparazzi moments. They're all hired. No, I disagree. I do think that there are instances where someone's like, hey, I'm going to be here. Do you want to come get photos of me so you can leave me the fuck alone for a week? You know, things like that to help everyone get paid while also having some semblance of controlled privacy. I guess there is that. Julia Fox, there was a video from a paparazzi recently where a couple of paparazzis approached her while she was with her son, and she was like, hey, can we not do this while I'm with my son? But if you want, we can exchange emails and we can schedule something for later when I'm not with my kid, which I like that. I respect that. That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally. But I'm also a Julia Fox fan, so that's just me being a fan. I think the difference here also between paparazzi and DeuxMoi is that one, obviously paparazzi, you can individually find out who a paparazzi is, tagging their name on photos and all of that. You can have an issue with that individual if you want. However, DeuxMoi, it's definitely one individual running this one account, curating this one account, and then also still kind of developing a fandom around themselves while also being this curator of information on the social media. So the fact that a lot of paparazzi are mostly faceless to people, even though DeuxMoi is faceless, but I guess the Instagram account itself has become a face in and of itself. So it doesn't matter that she's not putting her identity out there. She is still the individual running this account. She is bearing the weight of the scrutiny as one person, which is why people have a bigger issue with this than, say, a paparazzi who is out and about and following people and all that. Like the Hollywood Fix was a whole big deal on YouTube a year ago. I think they still make content, but there's a lot of people have issues with them because they just go and follow people and all of that, specifically younger content creators that are here in LA. Like, people have always had issues with blind item accounts, but I guess you could say that maybe it's because DeuxMoi posts literally anything without cooperation. A lot of blind item accounts will keep them blind, but they will try and corroborate it with multiple sources so that they type it out like a blind item. I'm not condoning this either way. I'm just trying to explain why I think that people have an issue with DeuxMoi specifically versus, say, paparazzi in general, blind items in general. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's because it's a woman running the account. I'm sure, I haven't seen anyone say that, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point like, oh, it's because it's a woman running the account that people have an issue with it. I doubt it. I really do. I do think it's just, this is one tangible being, even if it's behind an anonymous Instagram account that people can, I don't want to use the word dogpile. That's not the word I'm looking for, but just like scrutinize. Let's go with that they can, like, this is, yeah, you're this curator of information and you get to be private at the same time. You know, like a paparazzi taking a photo, you can find that paparazzi's name. Most likely, paparazzo, whatever. You can find their name. This DeuxMoi person was feeling entitled to their secret identity. Like I said at the start of this video, I'm surprised it took as long as it did to find out who DeuxMoi was. There's been speculation for a long time. A lot of TikTokers tried to figure it out, and they're like, here's what we think. And they broke it down X, Y, and Z. A lot of people thought it was Jill Zarin's daughter. Jill Zarin, a former New York housewife. I mean, would make sense. The reason I expected this to take way less time than it actually did, which, I mean, I guess the information was always there. It just took one person to dig. It took this one guy to dig, and that's all it was necessary to figure out who DeuxMoi was. But on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast run by Amanda Hirsch, a non-celeb gossip with DeuxMoi. Born during quarantine, the non-celeb gossip Instagram account DeuxMoi is on the pod and answers my pressing questions. How she started, her fave and least fave celebs, how is she connected to the entertainment industry, who is she, where does she live, what does she do, and what are her goals with the account? What's the deal with her celeb nicknames? Why is she private? And all of these things. DeuxMoi in this episode gave away what I think is a lot of identifying information. Like I said, I got very clear late 20s, early 30s white woman from this podcast. And that's just from the celebrities that she talked about, who she was interested in, things like that. I was like, I'm getting 30s maybe. But she talked about how it was not just her who started the account. It was her and a friend. And then the friend, that's why it's DeuxMoi. And then now it's no longer DeuxMoi. It's just her running the account. But it's still DeuxMoi. They kept the name. But the account's been active for a long time, and it was something else before it is now and all of that. And I was just thinking, like, that's a lot of years of like a digital footprint. My belief right now is that unless you have always been anonymous online, or you have been a Luddite since you were born and you're just now starting out, it is very hard to become anonymous online. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself in particular. It'd be very hard for me to start a new account completely separate from myself and have no one figure it out, especially if I used my real voice. You know, like, you guys would figure it out. You guys identify me by my glasses, wearing a mask, and by saying hello. You know, you guys would figure it out. Starting from scratch is difficult. Starting to go from scratch and then remaining anonymous is also difficult. So even if DeuxMoi was always like, oh, we're secret, we're secret, there's evidence somewhere, you know, someone slipped up somewhere. Also, people are greedy. So let's say you grew the following on DeuxMoi. With my understanding, there was already a following on DeuxMoi. When I followed the account, there was like 40,000 followers on there, but it was my understanding that that was a fairly recent growing number. Now it's at over 1 million. Let's say 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers. It's not super easy to organically grow on Instagram anymore. So let's say that hypothetically they wanted to keep the name and they didn't want to start a new account and move DeuxMoi to a new account because they had this account in X, Y, and Z, all of that. Like, you have a footprint whether you erase it or not. Social media in general, especially with the early days of Instagram, like when you would post something, it would go everywhere. Like, I have it set now on Instagram so that when I make a post, it doesn't automatically get posted to Twitter, but a lot of my early Instagram posts would get posted to Twitter. So even if the tweet itself is not, like, the photo is gone or something like that, like the caption that I added to that, at least part of it's going to end up on Twitter somewhere. One of my friends that I tagged in a lot of my Instagram photos does not have the same username on Instagram that she has on Twitter. And so this girl who had the same username on Twitter was like, why are you tagging me in your tweets? I'm like, oh no, I'm not, you know, it's just sharing and all of that. My point was during that is that there's overlap, you know, and so even if you scrub everything, it doesn't mean that everything is scrubbed. I think what ended up getting the DeuxMoi girlies here was that it was one, length of time of social media. Like, even if they scrubbed things, they couldn't scrub everyone. And also, like, eventually someone's going to figure out, or you're going to tell someone like, oh yeah, hey, we run the DeuxMoi account, before it was a blind item account. And so if you keep that name, and then someone's going to be like, oh, it was so nice meeting Melissa with the DeuxMoi girls or something, or they say Melissa and then they tag DeuxMoi, you know, like, there's intuitive leaps that can be made by things like that. And that's what happened with this article. Let's talk about the DeuxMoi's Digital Trail by Brian Feldman. Brian put this out on his Substack. It's so funny that it was just a newsletter. Like, here we go, I did the work. This is a very long breakdown talking about, you know, everything, including a brief FAQ that he did. Why are you trying to cancel DeuxMoi? I'm not. Isn't this doxing? Doxing is by and large defined as the publication of private or sensitive information, none of which you'll find here. But won't this have a chilling effect on the journalism that DeuxMoi publishes? DeuxMoi self-describes as entertainment and stresses that blinds may not be accurate, so no, I'm not particularly worried. Won't this reduce my ability to enjoy DeuxMoi? Maybe. Stop reading if so. Well, I still want to yell at you about it. My email's right up there. If you believe that DeuxMoi, who has an online audience in the millions, who has sold a version of their own life to publishers and producers, who regularly makes media appearances promoting their company, and perhaps most importantly, whose media brand is based on the belief that the actions of even mildly notable people constitute info worth sharing wildly and with abandon, should not even have so much as their name published, you are welcome to make that argument. I simply disagree for the reasons stated above. The thing about DeuxMoi in recent months is that I believe they have a show deal or a movie deal, or there's a book deal coming out. One of those things is happening. They have a podcast. They have done interviews and things like that. Okay. Brian is stating that, you know, they have a public place and, you know, they're promoting private information being shared. They are now a public figure. Shouldn't their name be out there? I would argue that this could be considered doxing because, again, it's private information, someone's full legal name. Like my full legal name, Amanda-Golka. Hi. For myself in particular with this channel, It was originally AMG Productions, which is Amanda-Golka Productions. I'm not good with naming. And that is the Mercedes manufacturer, I believe. And I didn't want to get sued one day if this ever went anywhere. So when I was a junior in high school, my friend said, hey, you say Swell a lot. Why not do something with Swell? Therefore, Swell Entertainment, because I was a smart ass and I liked to sound sarcastic all the time. That was partially because I wasn't sure where I thought this channel was going to go. And so when people Googled my name, I was hoping that my YouTube would not pop up. Now it's not really an issue. I introduce myself as Amanda in my videos. You Google Amanda-Golka, my social media pops up. You Google Swell Entertainment. I'm fairly certain my real name pops up, or my Instagram is the first thing that pops up, or the channel. And so it's like there's so much crossover, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's not that big of a deal. Plus, again, I don't put anything online that I wouldn't be comfortable saying to someone's face. So that works out. There's certain things where it's like embarrassing, like someone being like, hey, didn't you try on lingerie in a Spider-Man outfit? Yeah, that's mortifying, 100%. But I did it. So it's done. So Brian's whole thing with this is that he just went into the archives. I think the earliest one he found evidence of was 2012, which again, not surprising. You have all of these. And do I want to say the names? I mean, they're published now. There are the names. I don't think it's... Hi, Amanda here. Obviously, if you keep watching, you're going to realize that I do, in fact, say these women's names. My reason for believing that this may actually be the person who is currently running the account is that there have been people who have guessed DeuxMoi's identity in the past. And I've seen DeuxMoi react to these people's guesses, and it's always met with something like, wow, none of that was right, or haha, not me, but good guess, or something like that. What's happening here is DeuxMoi is now blocking people who talk about this person's identity. So that is why I believe that this might actually be this person running this account. One of the co-founders of DeuxMoi, who is no longer involved in DeuxMoi, is Maggie Kempner. She is the granddaughter of Nan Kempner, who is a famous socialite. She is no longer actively involved in the account, like I said. And the other girl, who it is believed is actively running the account, is Melissa Lavallo. The audio is crucial too. It's helpful that this video does not feature any voice filtering, making it easy to determine which person is currently in charge of, or at least the voice of, the growing DeuxMoi operation, Melissa Lavallo. I'd say she sounds the same here as she does throughout her podcast and in interviews. There is a very small chance DeuxMoi could now be someone else entirely, but that doesn't line up with DeuxMoi's own statements that they are one of the brand's original co-creators. Email sent to Lavallo and the DeuxMoi contact address summarizing my findings and requesting an interview were open, but were not replied to. So here's how the newsletter ends. Anyhow, that's what I managed to find sitting in plain sight. Is this an earth-shattering revelation that will change the course of anything? No, not at all. Does it totally recontextualize everything you thought you knew about DeuxMoi? Nope. But did you learn something very anodyne about a public figure? Sure. Anodyne? Anodyne? The word looks wrong, but I'm also dyslexic, so it literally could just be me. And honestly, what could be more DeuxMoi than that? I feel like I've heard the name Melissa Lavallo before. That sounds like a name I've heard, maybe in connection. I'm sure maybe someone guessed it before. I don't know. As far as I can tell from checking DeuxMoi's stories and all of that, DeuxMoi has not commented on this name. In my opinion, I think there's only one way for DeuxMoi to head about this. Let's say hypothetically it is Melissa. Let's say it is. Hypothetically. I think the smartest thing she should do is call up Paper Magazine or another publication and be like, hi, do you want to do my cover story and launch my name? And to be like, this is me. Here is everything, blah, 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 blah. I would do that. It's the smartest thing you can do at this point. Trying to continue to like bury the truth, whether it's you or it. Let's say, hypothetically, this isn't Melissa. Same thing. Do the same thing. Because people are just going to keep digging. Now that they have a name, they're going to keep digging for your name if it's not you, you know? So you might as well just go ahead and be like, hi, can I do this? We'll do a photo shoot. We'll do X, Y, and Z. We'll do a whole little thing, whatever. I don't know, something. Someone will care. Someone will do it. You got a book deal or whatever it is you got. Like, continuing to try and hide it, I think it's just going to look worse. So like I said at the start of this video, privacy versus anonymity. DeuxMoi as an individual is entitled to privacy, but so are all of the celebrities that she posts about in her stories, that she publishes blind items about. She did say on the podcast, at least I have not listened to the new DeuxMoi podcast, but you know, she uses her real voice on that. She has said that like, yeah, I get all of these posts and I post like maybe 10% of what I get. And that was 2 years ago now, you know? So it's probably even a crazier percentage of, you have 1 million users, at least let's say a third of them, maybe someone knows something or they're making stuff up because like I said before in other videos, you know, fans are crazy and they want stuff to be true. So let's just feed things in, and hopefully it'll be true because public opinion and all of that. This person is entitled to a private life, but are they entitled to anonymity? I don't think they're entitled to anonymity. I don't think so, especially with the type of content that you're making. I asked another content creator about this and I was like, what's your opinion on privacy versus anonymity? And they said, if you want to lurk, that's one thing. You can be anonymous if you want to lurk, but the moment you want to have to be the ability to comment and be involved, that's when you have to have a name associated to you or something like that. Like you can't just go and say, hey, you're a piece of shit, fuck you on the internet, and not have a screen name attached to you that can't be looked back or whatever. And I guess you could argue that a screen name is in of itself protection and anonymity and a privacy shield, but you could argue that it's not that hard to find a name associated with a screen name. Like it'll be somewhere. Like I said, it's very hard to be anonymous online. Someone will figure it out. We could have the same discussion about faceless YouTube channels and all of that. With commentary and things like that, could I have potentially made a shift into faceless YouTube channels? Sure, but when I was starting to do commentary videos, all of the commentary YouTubers that I watched that were faceless used gaming footage as like their background footage when they didn't have photos or videos or other things to show. And I'm not a gamer, so you have to see my face. Also, I wanted attention and I originally got onto YouTube for the goal of being discovered so I could act and things like that. Being a faceless YouTuber was just never ideal for me. There is a rise of faceless YouTube channels or cash cow YouTube channels. I tweeted out recently that I'm thinking of doing one as a test separate to myself. But again, eventually you guys will figure out that it's me because I'm me. You can only have, I think, one Google AdSense account, so it would be linked. So, I mean, eventually you would figure it out. Someone would figure it out at some point. It's just how it would work. And that would just be for a test for a video. It wouldn't be me actively trying to build a following on that social media page. It'd be for a video itself. But I mean, there's plenty of faceless YouTubers now who, again, people are like, hey, why are they allowed to be faceless? Why, like, there's people, let's say Corpse Husband or Dream or all these people. There's plenty of people who have said, oh, this is what they look like, X, Y, and Z. This is who it is. This is them, I see more face reveals or faceless YouTubers and things like that. I see more people trying to be like, this is what they look like. Let's laugh at them or something like that. Or this is what they look like. Aren't they hot? Or X, Y, and Z. Or look at how you're simping over this person. They're not that hot or something like that. Versus trying to like expose their real names, which I do think is interesting. I do think there's a discussion there. Like, do we only value attractiveness and not identity? There's a whole thing. I was not prepared to have that whole discussion on this video, but I mean, hey, I do think there's something interesting there that, there's all these face reveals and all of that stuff out there. Like, this is who this is who you're simping over. And it's like, it's usually identified that it's not that person, but you're making fun of a stranger that has no bearing on the situation whatsoever. Or it was just a fan meeting another content creator and you're making fun of that person because you thought that this was this person or whatever. And it's like, there's that whole thing. I'm sure that if anyone really wanted to find out someone's name on social media, they could. Again, like I said, it's very hard to stay anonymous online. There are people who have said that Corpse Husband, has gone live before and did live streams at one point in time. Like when I first started watching him years ago when I was still in high school and stuff, when he was still doing scary stories, I never watched any of those live streams, but there are people who are like, yeah, no, I've seen his face. Like I know what he looks like. He used to do live streams, but it was like when he was such a smaller content creator that there's no proof of that. There's no evidence of that or what that person looks like and things like that. Like there are people who have secret identities, but like someone knows, and it's like, it's just a matter of, I don't know. I guess you could argue, are you entitled to anonymity when you want to be a public figure in social media? Because at the end of the day, the it's a private account, but I mean, it's the nature of the account, social media. Now they have the podcast, deals and all of that. Do you retain your right to anonymity? Is there a right to anonymity? I guess that's the whole discussion here is there a right in general to anonymity? I do think everyone has a right to privacy. And I do think that's a continuously growing discussion and all of that. And, when you put things online, that's on you, like there's plenty of stuff I've put in videos and stuff that I do regret down the line. I wouldn't say I regret it because there's nothing that I've really put where I think it's actively a bad thing that I've revealed about myself or anything like that, or like my personal experiences. But there are times where it's like I say something online and I don't think about, this is going to be really weird when someone asks me about it in an interview in 2 years, which has happened and it's fucking weird every time it happens, but that's on me. It's not on them because they asked me about this private piece of information that I divulged about myself. I guess with anonymity as well, we could talk about the lolcow situation that happened last year and that has happened again. Lolcow is a anonymous online forum that I choose not to go on. I don't think I'm on there, but I don't want to know if I'm on there. So please don't tell me if you see anything about me on there. I just choose not to go on to those things. I just think like certain spaces are not meant for me as a mid-sized content creator. Okay. It's just not meant for me. It's for fans who want to make fun of me and talk shit. Like that's not for me, it's, I need to protect my peace and not go over there, like there's just certain things you don't need to know about yourself. But lolcow is an online forum where people can anonymously post and comment on, talk about lolcows. Okay. People that are like cringe, whatever, content creators, influencers, whatever, they can go and talk about it anonymously however they want. Like I said, I stay off of it. I don't want to know. I don't need to know. But last year it was revealed that allegedly another YouTuber, Creepshow Art, had gone on there and spoken about various other content creators that they were friends with, and also made posts against themselves and promoting themselves. And the self-promotion in particular is what the lolcow admins, the moderators, are vehemently against. So when that happens, they expose all of the posts that have been made using that IP address. That's what happened with Creepshow Art, is that they said that allegedly they believe this person was Creepshow and posted all of these posts over like 2 years, and it was like 300 posts or something like that. Basically, the understanding is that these people are on these posts. That's one thing. Like you can go and lurk on these accounts, same thing. You can go and lurk, but when you start posting, when you want a voice in the conversation, when you want to be able to comment, that's where the issue comes in. And they have the rule of no self-promotion. I think, and also no promoting of yourself. I don't want to pull up this account. If I see my name, I'm going to freak out. Lolcow. Number 8 for their global rules. Do not use lolcow for attention or profit. Do not deceptively post about yourself in the third person for any reason. Do not advertise. And I believe those were the ones that they alleged that Creepshow had violated those rules. And that's why they posted those as they posted those. Like, again, it's the breaking of the rules and then also like commenting in general. This blew up in the way that it did on social media because it was alleged these posts were talking about people that Creepshow was friends with and things like that, and speaking negatively and positively about some of them and all of that. But it was that it wasn't good. The same thing goes there. It's like, at what point is there privacy versus anonymity? And so in this case, the lolcow moderators said, yeah, you violated the rules. Your anonymity is gone. We believe this is Creepshow Art. Here is everything. As far as the DeuxMoi situation goes, again, she's posting about, celebrities' private blind items, but also expecting to not have any backlash for curating these violations of privacy of celebrities. I guess that's where the same thing goes with, faceless YouTubers. Like they are entitled to their privacy, and I guess, hiding their face is a way of doing that. But I guess with the faceless YouTubers in general, because plenty of YouTubers are faceless, and I don't want to say that all faceless YouTubers are hiding shit or anything like that. I don't want to say that. If someone really wanted to find out who these people were, they could figure it out. They really wanted to, they could figure it out. I don't know if a fan could do it, but maybe another journalist could do it and all that. I'm not encouraging that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's hypothetically, privacy is one thing, anonymity is another. Does DeuxMoi, the Instagram account, get to be a famous Instagram account and get a book deal or a movie deal or a show deal or whatever, while Melissa hypothetically gets to live her Hannah Montana life and have the best of both worlds of, being, I don't want to say nobody because I don't know anything about Melissa, if this is her. DeuxMoi's runner gets to, get the best of both worlds and be silent and, not have to deal with any of the backlash of any of these celebrities being upset that, my private information was divulged and all of that. I don't know. I think that's up for debate. Yeah, I think at a certain point, there's too much ground covered, like the podcast, the Instagram account, interviews, going and getting a show deal, a potential book deal, all of that. I think there's too much ground covered. I think a name needs to kind of be tied to that, but then also there's pen names. I guess I'm interested to see how this goes from here. Personally, as from a personal perspective and a marketing perspective, I think the smartest thing the DeuxMoi account runner can do is go public. Smartest thing they can do. Keep the DeuxMoi name for whatever reason, keep it as DeuxMoi. Don't say run by or anything like that on the Instagram account, but go public, do an interview, do something. Do a photo shoot. I don't know, something. But I think continuing to hide it is not gonna make things any better. Anyway, that's probably gonna be it. I know this was all over the place, but I really was kind of talking through this because this was a fascinating case to me. And like I said, I was surprised that it took as long as it did for this information to get out there. But I am interested in your opinions on what you think is entitled with social media, anonymity versus privacy. Where does anonymity end and, violation of privacy begins? What do you think? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I have a podcast, the Swell Shenanigans Podcast, new episodes every Wednesday. Reminder, I have merch like that mug back there. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also like to support my Patreon, they'll be listed down below. Like to know my social media, it'll be up here. And that's going to be it. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I kind of think it would be funny if I started a whole separate channel and it's just called Wells Entertainment or something, like just I rearranged Swell and then it's just me and a fake little plastic mustache. Maybe one of those glasses with the nose and the mustache. That'd be fun. Thank you, Audrey, Alan, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, Crash PC, China, Devin, Dirty One, Don, Elliot, Evan, Feckless, Hopeless, Incognito, Jekka Ray, Joe, John M, Jordan, Joseph, Kenny, Kim, Kristen Lamb, Lexius, Luis, Matt, O, Matthew, Meme Lord, Michael, Micah, Michael J, Nathan, Nathaniel, Pat, Pan, Richard, Rob, Red, Robert, Ross, Sam, Serena, Skylar, Simon, Tasha, Timothy, Tom, Wendy, Williams, Andrews, Wink.